Charms and challenges of New York. I arrived in New York filled with excitement. The towering skyscrapers welcomed me with their grandeur. The streets buzzed with energy and endless movement. Yellow taxis zoomed past, honking in a rhythmic symphony. The aroma of street food filled the air around me. I walked towards Times Square, eager to see its lights. Bright billboards flashed advertisements in vibrant color. Tourists gathered, taking photos of the dazzling displays. Street performers entertained with music and incredible acrobatics. A breakdancer amazed the crowd with gravity-defying moves. My stomach rumbled, so I searched for a snack. A hot dog cart stood at the corner calling my name. I ordered a classic New York-style hot dog with mustard. The first bite was delicious, warm, and perfectly seasoned. After eating, I strolled towards the beautiful Central Park. The lush greenery provided a peaceful escape from the chaos. Joggers and cyclists moved along the winding paths gracefully. A musician played a soulful tune near a bubbling fountain. I sat on a wooden bench and watched the people pass. Children laughed as they chased pigeons across the grass. A horse-drawn carriage trotted by, carrying enchanted tourists. The skyline peeked through the gaps in the trees. I decided to visit the iconic Empire State Building. The towering structure stood tall, a symbol of ambition. Inside, I took an elevator to the observation deck. The ride up was smooth yet thrillingly fast. Stepping outside, I was greeted by a breathtaking view. The entire city stretched beneath me in every direction. I spotted the Statue of Liberty in the far distance. Sunlight reflected off the Hudson River like shimmering gold. The streets below looked like tiny moving puzzle pieces. I snapped a few photos to capture the magical moment. As night fell, the city lights twinkled like countless stars. Descending, I decided to explore Broadway's famous theaters. Billboards advertised award-winning shows and legendary performances. I managed to get a last-minute ticket for a musical. The theater was grand, with elegant chandeliers above us. As the curtains rose, a hush fell over the audience. The performers sang beautifully, their voices filling the room. The story unfolded with emotion, laughter, and breathtaking drama. Thunderous applause erupted as the show came to an end. Stepping outside, the cool air carried the scent of roasted nuts. I wandered through the city, taking in its nighttime charm. The Chrysler Building glowed like a jewel in the distance. I made my way toward the Brooklyn Bridge for a walk. The suspension cables framed the glittering skyline perfectly. I paused halfway across, absorbing the magnificent view. The East River reflected the golden lights of Manhattan. The hum of traffic and distant sirens blended into harmony. I marveled at how the city never seemed to sleep. Heading back to my hotel, exhaustion mixed with excitement. I collapsed onto my bed, still buzzing from the day. As I closed my eyes, the city's magic lingered. Morning arrived, and I woke up ready for more adventures. I grabbed coffee from a busy little cafe nearby. The rich aroma filled my senses as I took my first sip. I decided to visit the Metropolitan Museum of Art next. The grand steps of the museum felt welcoming and iconic. Inside, I marveled at timeless paintings and sculptures. A Van Gogh piece held my gaze longer than expected. The brushstrokes seemed alive with emotion and energy. I explored exhibits showcasing cultures from around the world. The museum was a masterpiece in itself, filled with history. Hours passed as I got lost in the beauty of art. Stepping outside, I walked towards the 9/11 memorial. The air grew somber as I approached the reflecting pools. The names of lost souls were engraved along the edges. Water cascaded down endlessly, symbolizing remembrance and hope. I stood in silence, reflecting on the city's resilience. Leaving the memorial, I made my way to Wall Street. The Charging Bull stood proudly as tourists posed for pictures. Business professionals hurried past, engaged in phone conversations. The contrast of old architecture and modern glass towers intrigued me. I decided to take a ferry to see the Statue of Liberty. The boat swayed gently as we crossed the water. Lady Liberty grew larger as we approached her island home. Seeing her up close was an inspiring and humbling experience. She stood tall, a beacon of hope and opportunity. I imagined the many immigrants who saw her for the first time. As the ferry returned, I took one last look at Manhattan. The skyline with its countless buildings was breathtaking. I realized that New York was more than just a city. Every street, every landmark, every moment held significance. The diversity, ambition, and energy made it truly special. I knew that I would return again in the future. As I packed my bags, I smiled at my unforgettable trip. This journey had been one of wonder, discovery, and growth. With one last glance at the skyline, I whispered goodbye. New York had left an indelible mark on my heart. The plane took off and I watched the city disappear below me. I carried its memories with me as I flew home. A part of me would always belong to this incredible place. I scrolled through my photos, reliving every moment. Each image held a story of adventure and amazement. I smiled at the picture of Times Square's dazzling lights. Another shot captured the peaceful greenery of Central Park. The Empire State Building stood tall in my collection. My ticket from the Broadway show became a treasured keepsake. I replayed the melodies that had moved me so deeply. The voices of the performers still echoed in my mind. I had experienced the city's fast pace and beauty. I had tasted its flavors from hot dogs to coffee. Every step I took led me to something unforgettable. The people I met added warmth to my experience. From street performers to cafe workers, their stories fascinated me. I remembered a kind stranger giving me directions patiently. Another shared a restaurant recommendation that turned into a delight. The spirit of New York was in its people. This heartbeat was in the honking taxis and subway hum. I recalled the mesmerizing view from the Brooklyn Bridge. The city lights had sparkled like diamonds in the dark. I had felt the weight of history at the memorial. The names engraved there spoke of loss and resilience. The charging bull reminded me of ambition and determination. Lady Liberty had stood tall, embodying hope and freedom. I had walked miles through streets rich with stories. Each neighborhood had its own rhythm and personality. I had seen luxury on Fifth Avenue's elegant storefronts. Chinatown's vibrant energy had filled me with excitement. Little Italy's aromas had made my mouth water instantly. Greenwich Village had charmed me with its cozy cafes. Soho's art galleries had sparked my creative imagination. Every part of the city had left its mark. I explored Grand Central Terminal's stunning architecture and design. The celestial ceiling painted above left me in awe. I watched travelers rush past each with a unique destination. A delicious slice of New York pizza satisfied my hunger. I admired the impressive display at the New York Public Library. The towering bookshelves held knowledge from centuries past. I found a quiet corner and lost myself in words. Bryant Park just outside was bustling with activity. People played chess, read books, and sipped on coffee. I wandered into a local bookstore with endless charm. The smell of fresh paper and ink was inviting. A book about New York's history caught my interest. I bought it as a memento of my journey. I decided to take a walk along the High Line. The elevated park offered a stunning view of Manhattan. Flowers, trees, and art installations lined the scenic path. I watched the sun begin to set in golden hues. The city looked even more magical at dusk. I stopped at Chelsea Market for a quick bite. The aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air. I sampled some local pastries that tasted heavenly. I ventured into the bustling streets of the meatpacking district. Trendy boutiques and restaurants added life to the area. The cobblestone streets reminded me of old New York. I took a moment to soak in the atmosphere. I hopped on the subway to explore another borough. Brooklyn welcomed me with its artistic and laid-back vibe. Williamsburg street murals were bold and expressive. The waterfront offered an incredible view of Manhattan's skyline. I sat by the East River enjoying the gentle breeze. A jazz band played nearby, setting the perfect mood. I explored Dumbo, where history met modern creativity. The Manhattan Bridge framed the streets in picturesque beauty. I tried the famous New York cheesecake at a cafe. Its creamy richness melted in my mouth with delight. I took a ferry ride to Staten Island for fun. The fresh air and open water felt refreshing. I watched as the Statue of Liberty passed by. I couldn't believe how much I had seen. Yet there was always more to discover in New York. The city felt endless, full of surprises at every turn. I wandered into a jazz club for a nighttime adventure. The dim lighting and smooth melodies set the tone. A saxophonist played with passion, filling the room with soul. I sipped on a drink, letting the music sink in. It was the perfect way to end the evening. I walked back to my hotel under the city lights. The streets still bustled, never truly sleeping. I felt like I belonged in this rhythm of life. The next morning, I visited Roosevelt Island for a change. A tram ride gave me a breathtaking aerial view. The calmness of the island contrasted with Manhattan's rush. I strolled along the waterfront, appreciating the quiet. Before leaving, I took one last look at the skyline. It was a moment of gratitude and admiration. New York had given me memories to last forever. I promised myself that I would return someday. The energy, history, and culture had left an imprint. As I boarded my flight, I felt fulfilled. I had lived the dream of visiting New York. This trip had been more than just sightseeing. It had been an experience of growth and discovery. I carried its lessons, memories, and inspirations with me. New York had become a part of my journey. I wandered through the city, discovering hidden gems. Charming bookstores invited me in with their warm ambience. A cozy cafe became my next stop for a quick break. I sipped on a cappuccino, watching people pass by. Street musicians filled the air with soulful melodies. I decided to explore Grand Central Terminal's majestic architecture. The celestial ceiling inside left me in awe. I took a subway ride, embracing the city's rhythm. The station buzzed with commuters moving in all directions. Arriving in Little Italy, I craved authentic pasta. The aroma of fresh garlic and basil was irresistible. A friendly waiter recommended their homemade lasagna. Each bite was a perfect blend of flavors. As the sun set, I took one last stroll. New York had become a part of me forever.